Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in this week's Bendy News Recap, we take a look at a brand new audio log from Alice Angel's original voice actress, Susie Campbell. And finally, for those who don't yet know, Kindly Beast, formerly The Meatly Games, and the team responsible for Bendy and the Ink Machine are working away on a secret project that is not Bendy related, but nonetheless remains an exciting mystery. And in this video, we will be breaking down the latest trailer, which reveals a brand new character for that game. So a pretty jam-packed video today. Let's kick it all off with an analysis of Susie Campbell's new audio recording, which is dated August 2nd, 1932. This date is interesting as we have worked out a timeline for Henry's departure from the studio in recent videos based off these new audio logs on the Joey Drew Studios YouTube channel. It seems Henry left the workshop around 1930 to 1931, as we know that Joey hired a bunch of people to replace him and knocked out a wall or two to expand the studio, which began in February 1931. Henry then comments on these changes in the game, meaning he never witnessed them in person as he had already quit his job by that time. And this confirms the previous theories where I had concluded Henry and Susie had never crossed paths. Although obviously as one of the original artists at the studio, who was likely responsible for the creation of Bendy himself, Susie does know who Henry was, and this is referred to in the game.
No, Henry! I know who you are!
This date also tells us something else about Susie Campbell. We know from Thomas Connor's audio log from 1943, which we analysed last week, that the Ink Machine wasn't at the stage where it was ready to be incorporated into the studio until that year. And this means Susie was an active voice actress for over 10 years at the studio before getting involved in Joey's dastardly plans and being sacrificed and reborn as a twisted version of her character, Alice. She had many years to grow attached to her role before being replaced by Alison Pendle. No wonder she felt so betrayed and upset after so many years in the role. This adds towards why she was so eager to give herself over to Joey's radical experimentation in order to regain what she refers to as a character who had become a part of her.
But this is the first character I really felt a connection with. Like she's a part of me.
Now let's listen to the first section of this recording and see what we can learn directly from Susie herself.
The work of a voice actress can be a tough one, Mama. You never know what you're going to be voicing next. When you act in a proper theater, you get to play romantic leads, maybe a queen, some kind of villain. But when you work for Joey Drew, you never know. I think that's why I love it so much. Every day is a surprise.
This recording reveals Susie's vulnerable nature. She comes across as lonely, with this audio seemingly hinting at her being very innocent and naive, as the game suggests. Susie is speaking to her mother, and it sounds as if she just moved away from home and took a job as an actress out of town. It seems like she is reporting home here almost. Her mama is likely the only person she has close contact with, although this is speculation on my part, but I do really get that vibe from Susie. Also, from how Susie speaks of different roles, we can tell she is in love with performance art. She genuinely loves to act and inhabit other characters on stage and before the microphone, suggesting perhaps she enjoys this escapism because she doesn't have much of a life outside of the characters she portrays. This would explain why she gained a deep connection playing Alice over the years and enjoyed living through such a happy and angelic character in Joey Drew's cartoons. She references playing a number of different roles and how every day is a surprise. This is referenced in the game itself, of course, too.
These past few weeks, I voiced everything from talking chairs to dancing chickens.
Finally, Susie speaks of Joey Drew in an excitable tone. She makes it sound like getting a gig at his studio is a pretty big deal and seems to admire the man himself. In these early years, it is likely Joey Drew was in fact doing very well. His studio was thriving and expanding, and the public was enjoying his cartoons and the characters he and Henry had created. However, we know over the years as Joey tried to expand beyond his means, he put the company in a state of financial ruin, which ended up with its closure years later. But let's refocus and listen to the next portion of Susie's audio recording.
Though I do feel like I've been stuck with some low parts lately. Nothing really I can write home about. Sammy, our music director, was also telling me they're working on a new character upstairs. Might require a female touch. I've got a good feeling something great is going to happen.
In the second half of this new recording, Susie explains how she has been voicing some pretty boring characters lately, but she has heard of a new character being worked on upstairs that her music director Sammy Lawrence thinks she would be perfect for. Listen again to how Susie speaks of Sammy.
Sammy, our music director.
It sounds like she has a pretty big crush on this guy. This backs up the audio we get from Susie during Bendy Chapter 3, where she has this to say about Sammy.
Sammy said I had talent. He was once a very handsome man.
And it also pretty much confirms the two workers did indeed end up dating for a time, as picked up on by Wally Franks here in his latest audio log, confirming an old theory right here on the channel. So the whole Susie-Sammy relationship is almost certainly canon at this stage, but maybe we will learn more about what went on between these two characters in the future. The final point to comment on then is this new character being worked on in secret, which Susie mentions. This is almost certainly Alice Angel, meaning the creation of Alice happened in 1932, and most likely the first cartoons featuring her released the following year in 1933. This is the great thing about these audio logs, they are allowing us to nail down certain timelines, as well as expanding on the backstory of certain characters we all wanted to learn more about. Perhaps the new game will continue this trend. But the part of this audio log that really struck me is how sad the whole thing is. Susie is so full of hopes and dreams, so full of ambition, and such a well-meaning and kind-hearted soul. And eventually this naivety and kindness, this love for the character she played for over 10 years, drew her to become exploited by a man atop a crooked empire called Joey Drew, a man who turned the love Susie had for this character against her, making her desperate enough to give her own life to inhabit her once again, and this betrayal led to a twisted version of Alice being created. One which contained both Susie's original loving persona and a cruel and hateful one born out of the torment she had experienced at the hands of those she trusted. Susie Campbell's story is a sad one for sure, which as we know, ended in the worst way possible. And that's it for our analysis of this latest recording. Now before we end this video, I wanted to check out the new trailer for the Kindly Beast's other project, the game I've been referring to as Project Howdy. The latest teaser for the game has been phrased "Rootin' Tootin" on the thumbnail, alongside a new puppet, which we also see in this trailer. This new puppet seems to be on strings and looks like a very basic character carved out of wood. It doesn't feature the same details as the two previous characters. The music in the background recalls that of an old western saloon, which lines up with the theme of the game so far, that of the Wild West, although the music soon distorts and takes a very creepy turn. Once again, this seems very retro in tone, and evokes the feeling of classic 1980s VHS horror movies. Something I feel the game is going for with this style. And as a fan of these kind of classic horror films, and someone with a great fear of creepy looking puppets and dolls, I personally cannot wait to see more on this game. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this mysterious project alongside the new Bendy game and anything else that comes out of the talented team over at Kindly Beast and Joey Drew Studios. And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at SuperHorrorBro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.